Look at this picture. How many geometry ideas can you find in 5 seconds? You might see a point, a line segment, parallel lines, angles, a circle, or even an arc. They were all hiding in plain sight. If you can recognize 8 basic geometry words, diagrams become much easier to understand. Let's learn the language of geometry. Let's start with the smallest idea. A point represents an exact location. It has no length, width, or size. Think about dropping a pin on a digital map. The pin marks a location. In geometry, we show a point with a dot and usually name it with a capital letter. This is point A. Now imagine a straight path that never stops. That is a line. A line continues forever in both directions. That is why a geometry line has arrows on both ends. The arrows are important. They tell us that the line keeps going beyond what we can see. Point and line are especially important because geometry starts with a few basic ideas that we use to define everything else. In the Common Core Geometry Standard, those starting ideas are point, line, distance along a line, and distance around a circular arc. They are called undefined notions. That sounds complicated, but the idea is simple. Geometry starts with these basic ideas and uses them to build other definitions. You are about to see how. Put 2 endpoints on part of a line and now we have a line segment. A line segment is part of a line with 2 endpoints. This one has endpoint A and endpoint B. Here is the difference to remember. A line keeps going forever. A line segment stops at 2 endpoints. The edge of a desk or one beam on a bridge can model a line segment. Quick check. Which one is the line? Look for the arrows. That one is the line because it continues in both directions. Which one is the line segment? Look for the endpoints. Those small details matter in geometry. One more quick difference. A point can represent any exact location. An endpoint is a point at the end of a segment or ray. So every endpoint is a point, but not every point has to be an endpoint. Next are parallel lines. Parallel lines are lines in the same plane that never intersect. Think about 2 straight lanes traveling beside each other. They can model parallel lines. The key idea is simple. They never meet. Perpendicular lines are different. They do intersect, but they must form right angles. A right angle measures 90 degrees. Look for the little square symbol. That symbol tells you the angle is 90 degrees. The corner of a rectangular picture frame can model perpendicular lines. Here is one of the most important comparisons. Parallel lines never meet. Perpendicular lines meet at 90 degrees. Now look at these 2 lines. They intersect, but they do not form a right angle. Are they perpendicular? No. Lines do not become perpendicular just because they cross. Let's see what you know so far. Which image models a point? The map location. Which image models a line segment? The bridge beam. Which image models parallel lines? The road lanes. And which image models perpendicular lines? The streets meeting at 90 degrees. An angle is formed by 2 rays that share the same endpoint. That shared endpoint is called the vertex. Here, point B is the vertex. Think of the vertex as the corner of the angle. Angles can be small, wide, or exactly 90 degrees. Now let's look at a circle. A circle is made of all points in a plane that are the same distance from one center point. This is the center. Every point on the circle is the same distance from that center. That equal distance is what creates the circle. Now watch what happens when we focus on only part of the circle. This curved section is an arc. An arc is part of a circle between 2 points on the circle. Remember the difference. The entire round figure is the circle. One curved part of it is an arc. This also connects back to one of those starting geometry notions we mentioned earlier. Let's try this with something you probably recognize. Look at the London Eye. What models the circle? The entire outside wheel. Now imagine highlighting only the curved section between 2 capsules. What does that model? Now look at this real-world image. How many geometry words can you find? A connection point can model a point. A beam or section of road can model a line segment. Repeated cables or streets may model parallel lines. 2 sections meeting at a right angle can model perpendicular lines. Here is the big idea. A point marks an exact location. A line keeps going forever in both directions. A line segment stops at 2 endpoints. Parallel lines never intersect. Perpendicular lines meet at 90 degrees. An angle is formed by 2 rays with the same endpoint. A circle has points that are all the same distance from its center. An arc is part of a circle. Before you go, give yourself one last challenge. How many of today's 8 geometry words can you find in this picture? Point, line segment, parallel lines, perpendicular lines, angle, circle, arc. Once you can recognize these basic ideas, geometry diagrams stop looking like random lines and shapes. You start reading the language of geometry. And once you can read the language, solving the problems becomes a whole lot easier, and this is why math is fun.